Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, this is Stacy, reporting live from the Skull Rock broadcast. I am joined by...
Hello, this is Megan. Welcome back to our Stranger Things podcast. So, we are excited to be sharing this episode with you today. Most of these interviews have been recorded for a few weeks now, but we are just getting it out to you and we're super excited for you to hear it. We have a bunch of cool people that we talked to for this week's episode. And of course, we were talking about the Upside Down.
No.
We are not done talking about it. Obviously, we're never going to be done talking about it, but we do have this and one more episode that are full of interviews for you. So this one's a pretty cool group of people, though, because two of the people that you will be hearing from today are people that we've had on our show in the past. So our friend Haley from Haley's Funko Space is on the show today, and we got to talk to her about meeting her in person. And we also talked to Chris, who is at Film Stocked, and he's been on the show. And we actually talked to both of them about how excited we were for the convention. And it was cool to just have that follow-up conversation with them after actually getting to meet them in person. And yes, they are both as amazing as they seem, if not better in person. We loved them so much. And then we got to talk to some more people too. So
We did. We're going to be talking to Andrew, who is all things Funko. And I met him randomly in line, and he was just fantastic and probably had the most incredible collection of Pops that he was just getting signed personally for himself. He gives a lot of tips on if you're going to conventions and like getting things signed. So we learned a lot from him. We also got to chat with Cinco from Cinco Things, who collection goals, man, collection goals. And just meeting him and his lovely wife, like we were fangirling. And of course, our friend Oscar, which is NY Pop Bueno, who is just such a sweetheart. Oh man, the Inner Massachusetts just came out, sweetheart. And it was just so cool finally meeting all of these incredible friends of ours that we've been following and that has gone on this journey with us, and finally being able to just, debrief and just kind of break down about the Upside Down Con,
Yeah, absolutely. And so it was kind of like collectors and content creators. That's what I would say this theme is. And one other person that we talked to on today's episode was Cubby from Cubby Collects. So
Yes.
that was a delightful conversation. And it was just really cool to connect with all of these amazing people that we watch their content all the time. We love just getting to be friends with them online, but also being able to meet them in real life and just feel so comfortable, like we had known them forever. It was awesome. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys our conversations with them. All right, so we are back with Haley. We are super excited to be chatting with Haley again. We have done an episode with Haley before about like our dream Funko Pops and ones that we would like to see. So make sure you listen to that. But Haley, how's it going?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me back on again. It's funny that you mentioned the previous episode because we manifested some Funko Pops last time, and I literally found one just before coming home to record this. So I kind of felt like it was like meant to be, So I found a Mind Flayer, and we kind of manifested that one last time we chatted. So I had to mention that to you guys.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny too, because we actually did manifest that one. Did we manifest any other ones that time? We got a Murray.
We got the Karen in her bathing suit. There was a few.
I know, that's weird.
It worked out well.
We'll have to do that again. I think that a lot of our friends have been trying to get a pop of Andre, who plays the Russian Terminator guy. So we'll say it here. I was like, well, we can say it on Skull Rock Broadcast. It seems to be a good place to manifest things. So
Witches over here, so it'll work. Yeah. As soon as we finished recording that episode, I was like, damn, none of us said Eddie Munson with the Michael Myers mask. And I'm like, how has that not happened yet? So,
okay, put it out there.
yep, it's going to be released tomorrow now.
It was just Halloween. There was the perfect opportunity for it too.
Yeah. So we were super excited to get to meet you in person at
Yes.
the Upside Down.
Me
So it was
too.
so good to get to hang out with you. And we were wondering, I know this might be a difficult question, but what was your favorite moment, if you had to pick one, of the weekend?
That is definitely tough. I mean,
Mhm.
my cliche answer would probably be my autograph session with Joe Keery. It was pretty special to me, and I feel like it was a cool moment for him too. I got my vinyl signed by him, and I have the limited edition like green vinyl. I think it's like an Urban Planet exclusive or something like that. And he had never seen it before, so he was
Oh
like,
my
"Can I
God.
pull it out? Can I look at it?" And I was like, "Of course." So it's like we got to chat for a little bit about his music, and like now I have the record in my home, and it was the first one that he actually saw, so like that was special to me. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, we got to chat about like his future plans, and it was kind of nice to like I pointed out that there was a lot of like Funko Pops in line, but there was an equal amount of like vinyl records and CDs and things like that. So it's like kind of nice for him to see like the people are here for obviously his acting, but there's also like a lot of people here that are here for like your music and really happy for like the success that you've had over the past years. So that was a cool moment for me to see, and I think like for him obviously to kind of like take in as well.
Mm. He
I
was
love
super
that.
friendly, so sweet, you know?
Yeah, and that sounds like it was definitely a cool interaction that you had with him. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely very personable. It's nice when like you meet, you know, celebrities that you're big fans of and they turn out to be like incredible people on top of it. So
Yeah.
that was very special.
100% could not agree more. Yeah.
It's nice. Yeah, I left a bigger fan of him and many of the other cast too. Like I feel like I could go on and on about like good moments. There's so many like amazing things that happened in such a short period of time that
I
weekend, but
know.
it was incredible.
Who were you looking forward to the most meeting, and then who ended up being your favorite?
Um, I was looking forward to meeting like the main four, like Joe, Natalia, Charlie, and Maya as well. And I think Maya ended up being my favorite of the four of them. She was so nice and sweet and just like so personable. And the fact that she had her dog there, I had to mention
Oh
something.
my God, I know.
Girl, if I was famous, my dog would be sitting beside me too. So this is such a vibe.
Same.
But yeah, she was the highlight. So I'm, like I said, left an even bigger fan of her too.
What was your autograph like with her?
Really awesome. That's when we got to like discuss her dog, and she was just like talking about her dog and not being able to find anybody to watch it. She was actually like, truthfully, if I could have found somebody to watch him, he wouldn't be here. But I was like, well, I'm glad he's here anyways. And I got the 2-pack signed of her and Nancy, so to have both of them sign it was like very cool. But yeah, she was awesome.
She was amazing. I loved her.
That's really cool. So did you do any meet and greets or special events at the con?
I did not, unfortunately, but I took the time after the convention to just kind of explore as many filming locations as I could and hang out with, you know, people in the community here, meet a few people, which was nice. Got to see Hawkins headquarters, which was amazing, and like people in there too. It was such a cool moment. I was happy to see how busy it was for them, considering like all they did to like be a part of the convention and stuff like that, the town too. So no special events, no meet and greets, but still like just so thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah. What was your favorite of like the filming locations around town?
I think Hawkins Lab or Hawkins High, both of them they're both rumored to be demolished coming soon. I mean, the high school's already started, as we've all seen. So getting to see those was special because I know I'll be back in the future, but I'm not sure either of those buildings will be standing. So just getting to see those, both of them played like such, you know, pivotal places in the series, right? Especially Hawkins Lab. So cool to see in person and get some footage of that I'll be able to look back on for years to come, even when it's, you know, demolished. So those were my two favorites.
Yeah, it was really emotional. I think you sent some recordings of the actual demolition happening on Monday when we were all heading home. And that was like very emotional, I feel like, to watch that. So
It was surreal. I had been there on Saturday night. Obviously, there was no like construction happening at nighttime, but you could see a lot of the stuff was demolished in the background. But then when we went back on Monday, just to like, we heard rumors that it was coming down that day. So I'm like, we might as well go. The gym was still standing, but they were working on it. They were cutting all the power lines. So there's no longer any power to those buildings. So it's coming. It's getting close. It's a bittersweet moment for sure.
Yeah. I did love the video you took of Steve, your boyfriend, using the pole to try to get the bricks. I was dying. I was like, look at that teamwork. Flawless.
I think they were strategically placed there because, like, I don't know, it just seemed too perfect. So he was like, you know what, let's try from under there. And we got a few bricks. So as a collector, it was really cool to get that. I feel like, I don't know, that's one of the coolest items in my collection now, just to have like a brick from Hawkins High.
You
Like,
had to, yeah.
it's so fitting. And yeah, to be able to see it too was just incredible.
yeah. And we already asked you if you were stopped by like TSA for these bricks, and you said no, but I love that Stacy shared with me that your cover story was going to be that it was a brick from your high school.
I was like, that is some quick thinking. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. You know what? You just got to make up a story and go with it. But they didn't question me at all. I was surprised. Both me and my boyfriend Steve had stuff in our bags and no questions asked. I do wonder what they were thinking though, like when they checked the bags, like pieces of bricks and other things in there, like, where have these people been? What are they doing?
And then you think of like how many people probably flew home within those few days with bricks in their bag, and they're like, huh,
There's a
that's
theme
weird.
here. Like, what's going on? Where
Yeah.
are these people coming from with all these bricks?
So good. Now, you mentioned that you got, obviously your vinyl signed and some pop signed. Can you go more into detail of what specifically you got signed and by who?
Yeah, so there's quite a hefty list. I still can't believe that I met all of these people in a weekend, but
Yeah.
I got my Susie Funko Pop autographed by Gabriella. I got my Jonathan Funko Pop autographed by Charlie Heaton. My Erica autographed by Priya. I got the Nancy and Robin 2-pack autographed by Maya and Natalia. My Will Byers, Will the Wise Funko Pop autographed by Noah Schnapp. I'm trying to think of who else. Ooh, Cara Bono. I got her autograph. I was gonna get Dakers as well on the 2-pack, but unfortunately he was unable to join. So that's something that I need to get done in the future still. And I got my Chrissy signed by Grace Van Dien as well. I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing any other than the Joe autograph as well on the vinyl, but I think that's it.
That's awesome.
We had a whole discussion about this with other people. Did you do paint pens for the pops?
I did, yeah. I brought my own. I just wanted to be sure that I could pick the color and make sure that everything worked out. So I had a whole bunch of them in my pocket ready to go. I actually left them with like 5 of the celebrities and ended up having to go back and be like, hey, I actually accidentally left my pen. Can I have
You
it
take it out of Joe Keery's hand. You're like, that's mine.
He's actually one that remembered. He was like, you better take your pen because I will keep it. And I was like, I would have forgotten. So thank you very much. But I
He's
had to
too
go
good
back.
for this world.
He
Like,
is. I was just,
who gives a pen back? Like, come on.
right? Like, yeah, he was incredible. It's, like I said, awesome when they actually turn out to be just like really, really good, genuine, nice people.
Yeah, totally. So anything else that you want to share about your time in the Upside Down?
Just getting to meet like everybody in the community was really nice. I know that like I've been connected with many of you and many others that we met for a couple of years now, some of them. So it was really nice to be able to just like meet face to face, hang out for a little bit. I know all of our schedules were absolutely insane, but I definitely enjoyed even the small moments that we got with some of the people. So it was really nice to just have that sense of community there as well. The panels were incredible. I didn't get to as many panels on the Saturday as I wanted to, but I managed to get to all of them on Sunday, not the entirety of the panel, but at least a bit of each. And it was really great just to kind of get a better, idea of what their experiences were behind the scenes and kind of things that they've been going through with filming and stuff like that. So it was really nice to just enjoy that and be around people that, bring me joy. So
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have any like favorite moments from panels? Because I literally watched like 1.25 panels. So I would love, I'm like hoping that more of them end up on YouTube. Like
Mhm.
I know Epic does post panels once they're able to get them like approved by everybody, but I was just wondering if you had any favorite moments from the panels you watched.
Yeah, there was a few. The Noah, Gayton, and Caleb panel with Kara was amazing. The chemistry between the three of them is just really awesome. You can tell that they're really great friends, which was nice. Millie Bobby Brown came in as like a surprise like question during the middle of it, asking if they prefer her or Finn, which I thought was really funny. To see their like interactions and just seeing like the four of them interact, it was really nice. Like I said, to see that they're like really good friends. I think that makes like the behind the scenes chemistry and actual like real life friendships, I think makes for better on screen chemistry and just like more in depth in characters and things like that. I feel like it just like makes the show even better. And then there was another panel with Joe, Mason, and I think Grace was the other one. And they were just talking about their experiences and how they got into Stranger Things and what the process was. So it was really cool to hear each unique experience. Joe's was a little bit easier than the other two, and I think Grace actually only sent in one tape, and she didn't think she was going to get it at all. She's like, "Oh, that was awful," and then she ended up getting the role of Chrissy. So she thought it was a horrible audition, but obviously it went really well. So it's interesting to see that like even when they don't think they're at their best, they're still performing at like such a high level, which is really cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming to chat with us about it. We are just loving just reliving all of this time at the convention and just don't want to forget about anything and just want to keep keep it going because we were excited about it for so long. So it's nice to kind of have people to talk about it now that
Yeah.
it's over. So yeah. So thanks for coming.
I love that you guys are keeping it going for as long as possible. I'm trying to live in that moment for as long as I can.
And I definitely hope to see all of you again, like everybody that we got to meet in the community, like you were talking about, because everybody was just so great. And it was like,
Mm.
I feel like we all felt like we knew each other like forever. Like that's how it felt, at least. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that we can all kind of hang out again at some point. So,
For sure. It just felt easy. Everybody was so welcoming and it's nice when like you just fit in right away and you click right away. Like that's a really good feeling.
Hello, everyone. So, we've been talking to people who attended the Upside Down Con, and we were discussing one of the best things about attending this con was meeting people in line who were fellow collectors and fans. And I was fortunate enough to meet Andrew, who probably had the most insane pop collection of all time. How are you doing, Andrew?
Doing good. Yeah, it was nice to meet you guys too. You were actually, I think, the first two that I met. I think I met Stacy, but I don't think I saw Megan all con. I don't
yeah,
know.
we were
Yeah,
like never
unfortunately, yeah.
together.
She was an
Yeah,
entity. She was
but
just
yeah,
always in line.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
It's
was craziness. But
it was. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was your favorite moment of the con?
My favorite moment was probably just like going, no one likes to really wait in lines, but when you're waiting for someone like Joey Keery or Natalia Dyer, someone that you don't really know is gonna show up again because I don't know if you guys look at RosterCon to like find, different kind of celebrities that are around that are, doing, cons, but Joey, Kiri, and Natalia don't do a lot of cons, so the moment that I saw that they were there, just waiting in those lines, the anticipation of like, what are you gonna say to them? You end up, talking about pen color and what you want to do, and you never get to say, what you actually want to say. So it's probably just, the waiting in lines and getting to meet people, but also just meeting the actual celebrities because I had a bunch of stuff. I had probably like 8 tickets for about each celebrity. So I got to spend maybe 2 to 3 extra minutes that maybe someone didn't actually get to spend. So that was the best part for me is, those things. Yeah.
That's crazy. How many envelopes did you have at registration?
So when I got to registration, we didn't know how bad the Atlanta traffic was gonna be. So we were actually like, my mom was like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot about the time change."
Mhm.
She was like, "We had this hour of cushion that is now completely gone." So we had to kind of step on it. So I think we got there maybe 10 or 15 minutes actually, before it was closed, but it didn't actually close. I think it actually kept going, but it took probably like 10 minutes, maybe more, to go through my packet. And, there are a few errors here and there, but that's expected when I got so much stuff. So,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I told the story about like how they only gave me the one packet with like a few things in it, and I was like, no, 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 this is not everything.
it's not everything. Yes.
No.
So I'm sure you can relate to that. But also, I totally agree with like the waiting in lines because I mean, for somehow I never got to connect with you waiting in lines, but I did meet so many other cool people, and it was cool that Stacy got to meet you and chat with you. I feel like Stacey and I have said like we were like not always together. Like we were
Correct.
very
Yeah.
rarely
Yep.
together throughout the weekend because I was in so many lines and then she was in different lines, and there was only a few times where we like purposefully came together
Like
for a
two
couple
ships
photos.
passing in the night.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was very cool to chat with people. And it's funny that you bring up the pen colors because I feel like I went to Joe's table like 5 times or something like that for autographs, and like watched him do other people's autographs too, but he was taking so much time like
Hmm.
deciding which pen color to use and like what would look good. And that was kind of cute even though it like took up like part of your conversation with him.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like you said, every time I was like, "Oh man, I should have said this, like I
Yep.
should have said that, like I can't believe I forgot to say something like this." So it's funny, but it was a great experience. So you mentioned Jokiri and Natalia Dyer. So were those the ones that you were looking forward to meeting the most? And or was it somebody else? And then who ended up being your favorite?
So, can I go into a little bit of a story about it?
Absolutely, please.
So I was on Facebook Autograph Society. It's a Facebook group. It's got like, I don't know how many people it has, but it has a lot of people. So I was able to secure some autographs like Natalia Dyer a little bit earlier, uh, Charlie Heaton as well. But the one that seemed to miss me by a lot was Dacre Montgomery, actually, who's Billy. So I made a post asking like, hey, does anyone know, where I could get a Dacre Montgomery like autograph? Does anyone have one? And I looked in the group, and there was a guy that replied to me. I don't think he was going to the con, but he sent me a picture of the Epic Cons like kind of photo of him. And I was like, and he was like, well, if you can go to this con or get someone to go for you, then this would be a good way to get him. So, and we know how that story ended. He ended up canceling, which was heartbreaking, but that's how I found out about the con. And my first con was actually Fan Expo Dallas of this year in May. So I didn't exactly know how a con actually worked, to be honest. So I didn't know that there were going to be announcements. You had to follow social media. So I kind of figured that out, and it was Millie Bobby Brown, Dacre. I think those are the only two that were on the Instagram at the time. And then I followed them on Instagram, EpicCons, and they started releasing like all these, hyped up people. So I think Joey Kiri was next, and then it might have been Gatton actually. They saved some of the biggest ones towards the end, like Priya was a big deal. Same with Natalia and Charlie. But my favorite one, I don't know if you're asking like for my favorite interaction, but the one I was looking forward to see the most was probably Joey because of how rare he was and how cool I thought, he was. Even if I didn't think that his, how some autographs look nice, like Maya Hawk actually writes like in cursive. Joey just does the J, and I don't even know what the last part is, but
Yeah.
it's supposed
I
to
don't
be
know
a
either.
K, but it works.
Yep.
But yeah, so Joey ended up being my favorite interaction because I spent the most time with him because I ended up having about 15 items for him, I think.
Oh, wow.
But Charlie would be a second because we got into the conversation about like where am I from? And Charlie actually revealed that he wanted to do some more cons. So I asked him, like, are you interested in doing, more cons? Because you haven't been around that much. And
Mm.
he's like, yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit more active. And they can't say much because, they don't want to spoil
Yeah.
anything. So it was Charlie and Joey that ended up, being my favorites. Some of the bigger people like Natalia, even Maya, for an example.
Mm.
Jamie was cool, but we just had to move so fast because I turned around and there's a lot of people waiting for me, and the volunteers were so great.
They really were.
They really were. So but there was always this kind of pressure, you got to move on, especially with a giant wagon like I did. So
You killed me
um,
when you were like, do you know what they call us at cons? And you were like, wagon boys.
wagon boys, exactly. It's a real thing.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and I don't know what you did when you got your autographs, but I just the way it ended up happening, I would like buy an autograph for Joe and then it would sell out and then they would release more and I would be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I need to get another one." And then it would sell out again. And then I feel like they would release more and I would be like, "Oh my gosh, I just need one more." So mine
Correct. Yeah.
ended up being like in 3 different groups.
Yep.
So I like went to his table 3 times, which like meant I had to stand in line multiple times, but also I feel like that actually got me more time with him than
Mhm.
if I had stood there and gotten him to sign 3 things at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know, like
Well, the groups, that was new for me. I've never seen that at a con.
Mhm.
Usually for Dallas, the way it was, the con had like a start time, and then the celebrity had photo ops and panels to get to, and you basically just had the time that you had
Yep.
to get your autographs, which could mean the line was really long if it was a big celebrity, or it could mean the line was short and you just kind of had to, figure it out, what was the best time to go. So the groups were nice. I can understand why they did the groups, and
yeah,
Yeah, there was a method
absolutely.
to their madness, and I've been going to cons for years, and I was like, "Oh, this is different," but it, like, oddly worked really well, you know? I wanna ask you, what was your favorite thing you got signed by Joe Keery?
so I think part of the reason why I had the wagon and why I needed it was the goal was because there are so many of the same like fandom celebrity there. It
Mhm.
was just kind of it was easy to get all of them. So I'm a completionist. I was the same way, when I was, into Lego. I
Mhm.
was, the same way when I was into other stuff. And it carried over into Funko Pops. And that's kind of how I got into Funko Pops actually, because of Stranger Things, because there's only one Lego set that they've ever created for it. And they're more, children friendly with things like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was nice to get these things. And then there was this added thing of now you get to take something with you and go see a celebrity. That's just such a cool thing. And I got to
Mm.
do that with other people as well. But I think they're called grails. Anything that has a sticker on it in the corner of a Funko Pop, that's probably my favorite thing that got signed. Because I also had the Scoops Ahoy, Robin and Steve. They're like 1,800 pieces or something like that. That was probably my favorite thing because
Mm.
I was able to complete 2 grails there at the same time.
That's incredible.
Usually that doesn't happen, and
No.
that's almost unheard of, basically. Usually people have to wait so long, get one grail signed, get the next one. It was the same thing with Noah Stapp. Like, it was all these grails that I was able to get signed at the same time. It was kind of nerve-wracking putting them all in the same place and
Yeah.
yeah, stacking them up. But and I was also debating, well, do I take my stuff upstairs to the hotel with me, or do
Mhm.
I put it in the car? But I had to take them with me
Oh,
because
of
it's just
course, anything could happen, and you were smart too, because like, you probably were thinking, "Alright, these are rare guests. How often are they all gonna be together under one
correct.
roof?"
Yeah.
That's how Megan kind of looked at it. "I need to meet them now," and as a collector like yourself, you were really smart to bring as much as you could to get signed. but I know I asked you in line, did you, and I forgot what you said, but did you attend any of the meet and greets or special events, or were you just doing autographs and photo ops?
So I spent way too much on autographs and photo ops.
Hell
So
yeah.
yeah, I did. Yeah.
No,
So
no, no,
No
no
judgment.
judgment.
no judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a list. So I did not have Alec, who's Alexi. I did not have Andre, although I wish I got him as a photo op. And I
Mm.
did not have Amy Beth. Those were the only 3 people I did not take a picture with. And what
Yeah.
I did was, if it was Gatton, I was like, I put a check in my phone, basically, if I had the autograph, and I counted, like, and I put a list of, like, things that I'm bringing to the con. So if I had a photo op with Gatton, but then I didn't have one with Gabriella, I saw that there was a duo with them. So I'm like, I could get both at the same time. So that's when that check ended up on that list anyway. So the only singles that I got, I think, was Noah. I so wish I got a single with Joey just because of how memorable it was. Same with Charlie. But that quad doesn't beat anything.
No, that's epic.
It
Yeah.
was it was really cool to see them all there kind of in one thing. And that's a rare photo. That photo may never actually happen again, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's how I looked
You're
at it.
absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah. I sometimes regret not getting those 4 together. Yeah.
It'll never happen again because of the filming will be done for Stranger Things, and the
Mhm.
fact that they're able to make this convention happen.
Yep.
They seem to know how to work around the filming and things like
Mhm.
that. So they definitely knew these people are going to be in the same spot at this designated time. So that's why I think Alexis, who's, the co-owner, said that this probably won't happen again just because it was so, hard to organize, because we kind of got lucky that all these people were filming in this one spot, and you could see it at the con as well. There were a couple of celebrities with the Red Bull, right? And the sodas. So
Yep.
they were definitely feeling it. So
Yeah. I love what you're talking about with like the checks and stuff, because I did the exact same thing.
Yes, she
Like,
did.
and I ended up, the last 2 photos that I bought were the duo with Alec and Andre, because I didn't have them yet, and a photo with Amy Beth. And it was like, that ended up being one of my favorite photos with Amy Beth. So I'm
Mm.
glad I like ended up adding that one because she was so sweet. But I did the duo with Gabriella also, but that was more like, I had that and I was like, oh, I guess I already have Gaten, so I don't need to get him by himself. But then I would be like, oh, but I really want him by himself too.
yes.
But I didn't do Natalia and Charlie. I just did those together and not individual. So yeah,
They
I
go
had like
together
a
like
very
peanut butter and jelly. Come on now.
similar
Yeah.
system as you.
And then once the schedule came out, that was part of the reason I didn't get Alec, Andre, or Amy Beth, because once I started laying it all out, kind of,
Yeah, it's
and it-
overwhelming.
it changed a little bit. I don't know if you saw the schedule did change a
It
little
did,
bit.
yeah.
It actually helped me out quite a lot. There was a huge overlap in the morning where I would have had Kara, Noah, and 4 or 5 photo ops at the exact same time.
Ugh, getting anxious
But-
just thinking about it.
Exactly. I am anxious too, but Noah ended up being the one that they were saying. Remember they sent the email out about how
Yes.
some of them are filming? Noah's time changed from like 12. It changed all the way to 5 p.m. So he was
Oh,
the one who
wow.
was filming late at night. So
Mhm.
that really helped me out. I don't know how I would have done it elsewhere. I would have had
Yeah.
to get help, but I'm lucky that I was able to meet him.
Yeah.
Because he was really cool. I was able to kind of sneak some things on him because I had the same sticky notes as what the con used. So he did all my quotes without me even asking for them, and the handler didn't even catch it. They
I
weren't
love
long
it.
quotes or anything, but it wasn't on purpose. But I just
Yeah.
left them on there, and he did them. So
You were very organized too. I like that you had like that plastic sleeve on that giant Demogorgon you had, and you kind of had like to match the celebrities to the paint pen colors. I was like, that's incredible. I would have never
Correct,
thought of
yeah.
that. So very, very cool how you went about that.
yeah, it's
Way more organized than me.
Yeah, I was like, eh.
so when I initially started playing for the con, I was like, well, how do I get 8 things for pretty much each celebrity through this trip?
Mm,
And I was like, well, we got to drive for sure. We can't take this on a plane at all.
yeah.
And I was like, but what happens if I want flat Funko Pop boxes? How do I, if they're drying, how do I trust that, I can stack them on top of each other?
Mm.
And the way that I figured out how to fix it is I remembered that people use top loaders, 11 by
Oh,
17
okay.
top loaders. But then I also had the thinking like, well, there are binders or artist things that, because artists have multiple things that they're working on. So they have to have a lot of slots. So
Mm.
I looked up an 11 by 17 kind of binder and it fits a flat Funko Pop perfectly. So I was able to just flip through pages and be able to do that. But since they weren't signed, I was able to just put all of them in one spot and
Yeah.
then leave 7 or 8 open spots for when they're all done. And then I could separate them that way.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, a lot of thinking went into this because I'm like, I'm spending $130 freaking dollars. I better not mess this up. So,
Hell yeah.
and it even came to the point where I brought a little USB fan to help me dry the ink a little bit more, the
That's
paint,
Oh,
whatever it was.
smart. Yeah.
I learned that from consigners in that same Facebook group.
Mhm.
This was such a fascinating conversation for me because I love hearing like all of the thought and research that went into you getting all of this stuff signed. But you're right, it was such an investment to spend that much money. So it was like made sense that you spent so much time and put so much effort into it.
Yeah,
So
you worked very smart about it,
yeah.
and the planning paid off. Some of the advice and tips you made, like that's stuff I'm going to try to remember next time I go to a con. So very helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it was so nice to like go to. It's so rare for a con to do a complete fandom thing where it could be just, a horror con where like you get multiple different, people that are in horror films.
Mhm.
But never once have I seen a con that has been kind of one central fandom where that was all it was. Sometimes it's just like, it could be most of Stranger Things, but could be a little mix of like Cobra Kai or whoever it was. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
Epic did us proud. They did a very
they
good
did,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they do Vampire Diaries cons, but Vampire Diaries is such a much bigger universe. Like they have multiple spin-offs and stuff like that. So to have a con with this many cast members from a single show that literally has like 4 seasons with eight to 9 episodes each, like
Yeah.
that was pretty big. And there's
Correct.
been a
Yeah.
couple little Stranger Things cons here and there, but
Mm.
nothing with the lineup like this
Correct.
Not
Yeah.
one
That
not
has.
at this
lineup
scale.
was,
Yeah.
tall. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was so nice to meet all these new people, and I met probably a lot of people after I made my post on the Facebook. I probably got like 45 or 50 friend requests, which is the
That's
most I've ever
awesome.
That's
had.
so
So,
cool.
That's
Yeah.
the beauty of
um,
a con, meeting more people.
but you guys are going through every single episode. What happens when you get to the end, though? Like, what is next?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't gotten very far. It took us the whole year, and we're just going to finish up the first 2 seasons with the
Mhm.
deep dives because we do a lot of things in between. Like we've done a lot of the content recently. We've done like character episodes. I
Different
don't even know.
themes,
Yeah, just different
merch.
themes
Yeah. Yeah.
like Valentine's Day, we did like our, top like ships and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah. Yeah.
that. So yeah, like Stacey said, pretty much every episode we do like filming updates, merch. So I feel like we don't really have a plan because it's gonna be at least another year to
Yeah.
I
get through
see.
the
Yeah.
next 2 seasons. Plus then
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
got season 5. So it's like we're hoping we get through season 4 deep dives before season 5, but it might not even happen. So we'll
Especially
see.
since some of those episodes are hour and 45 or
Yeah,
2 hours
Yeah.
long.
we have
So,
some friends that have a podcast too, Starcourt Study Hall. Like I think
Mm.
when they did their deep dive of like the last couple episodes of season 4, they had to split it
So
Break
into
it
like
up.
long, yeah.
3
Yeah.
episodes.
I
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, so I've been watching Stranger Things with my friend again because he was watching Stranger Things and he got to the first season, the part where Steve and Nancy are starting to kiss in the bathroom. And he's like, he just shut it off there. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You kind of missed like everything. And
This
then
is
he
when
was
things
like,
pick up. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
he was like, so we started watching it from season 1 and things like that. He's like, oh my God, this is like, well, he said season 1 was his favorite. We're at the end of season 4, so I think he likes
Fun.
1, 3, then 4, then 2.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
But 5 just sounds like I've heard stories that, I mean, I think a teaser is coming soon, but
Hopefully.
I've heard that each episode is like 2 hours long or something like that, something ridiculous.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
we'll be binge watching. They should try and time some of these releases though, so that people could binge watch over like Christmas or something like that.
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
fun.
When they have a
Yeah.
little more time. But then we'd have to wait much longer, which I'm not sure if we can handle that.
I
Yeah.
know.
I know.
Um,
Whew.
We'll
it
see. It's
is,
going to
yeah.
be fun. That's for
Yeah.
It will
sure.
be, yeah.
Having
Yeah.
a blast. That's all
It
that
is.
matters.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
But we wanted to thank you for coming on tonight because, that's the beauty of a con. I mean, we first met in person, me and Megan, at a convention. So, you were one of the first people I met at Georgia in line, and you were just so cool. And as a fellow collector, I just found all your little tidbits very interesting. But it was so much fun talking to you tonight, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
me. Yeah, I hope to be back.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, our next guest that is coming on to talk to us about their experience at the Upside Down is Joey, aka Cinco from Cinco Things. So, we are super excited to chat with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here, listen to the podcast since day one. So I love it.
You're the best.
Yes.
Yeah, and we love you. We love your content so much. And we just were so excited to get to meet you in person.
I know.
Mhm.
We ran into you, I think, Friday in the square.
That's right. That's right.
So I was so excited to meet all of our friends that we've connected with beforehand. But yeah, it was super cool to see you and I feel like I stood in line with you a lot too during the convention. So that was super fun. And it was just
Bonding time. I love
fun
that.
to get to know you and your wife too. She was super
Yeah,
sweet.
So sweet.
We're going to start off with a difficult question.
Okay.
Yes.
What was your favorite moment from the convention?
Besides meeting you all and like you said, the friends, because it's a lot of the connections we have is over online, and then you get to meet in person, and it's kind of surreal. So that was really cool. I don't want to discount that, but honestly, just being in Hawkins, Jackson, I think, because I've been to Atlanta to see the sites before, but we never really went down to Jackson because what I've heard from in the past is Jackson was not really into it, or there was not much to see. Like, okay, I remember this, seeing that. But now that they leaned into it, especially for the con, it was amazing.
Absolutely agree. I was there once at the end of 2022 and it was pretty quiet. Like you said, there wasn't really much going on. There were a couple shops that had like little bits of Stranger Things
Mhm.
memorabilia like outside, and a couple places like I thought it was cool to see the alley, and I went
Right.
and had a drink inside the bar that was used for the movie theater scene.
Mhm.
Oh, that's sick.
But that was pretty much it. And I kind of like looked around, took some pictures,
Right.
and it wasn't much to do, but it was so cool to be there when it was like bustling with other fans and just so much going on. So that was a treat.
It's that energy, right? Not just the con, but it spilled out into Jackson, and it just felt like I'm with my people. That was the real thing.
You said it perfectly because, like, I kept saying to Megan over and over again, I was like, this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is the final season. The lineup that they were able to get because they were actively filming. And I was like, we are so lucky to be down here, not only seeing the locations, but meeting the cast. So I'm really glad we all were able to make it. And like, just everyone was so welcoming because, woo,
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When it first launched, I've been to some Stranger Things conventions in the past, and I
Mhm.
was like, at first, like, I don't know if I'm gonna go to this one. I was on the fence, and I was kind of late to it a little bit. I
Yeah.
missed out on the first time for Joe Curie to get, I think, an autograph, but I got a
Okay.
photo, and then I was lucky that they added more autos later on. So yeah, but once I got in, it was a slippery slope.
Yes, it was. Man.
Yeah, because we were super excited about like obviously Dacre and then Joe, like, and those were like the second and third guests I think that they had announced. But
Right.
then they just kept adding more and more. And I was like, well, I'm already gonna be there. Like, who knows if I'll be able to meet this person again? Like, I guess
Exactly.
I have to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely a slippery slope. But luckily, like I purchased them all like throughout the year, not all at one time. Stacy was like, "Yeah, girl math."
Go on. Yeah, loophole. You're fine.
Right. What is money, anyways? But
Yeah.
Exactly.
As the kids say, YOLO,
exactly.
Which, speaking of, who were you most excited to meet that weekend and who ended up being your favorite after the weekend was done?
Okay, so I'm not going to just lead into your podcast theme of Joe Curie, but Joe Curie was one of the exciting ones, mainly because I've been to other two cons that he was supposed to be at, and he unfortunately had to cancel. And so I was like, hopefully third time's a charm. So he didn't disappoint. But other than that, honestly, Gaten. Gaten's my favorite since season one. I've always loved Gaten and the Dustin character. So seeing Gaten and Joe, but man, now you're gonna start thinking about like, well, actually, Maya, they were all great.
Yeah, Maya was fantastic. And I think that was only her second con that she's ever done. And so just to have that experience, and it looked like she had such a blast and had
Mm,
so much fun with Joe. We talked about how you can tell that they're really close friends in real life, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So that was really cool.
Well, Amy Beth too. I don't want
Oh
to
my
sleep on
God.
Amy Beth. It was her
Yep.
first con, and just to be part of that experience for her, I could feel that energy, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're part of your first con, and that sharing those moments, at the autograph table with her, she was definitely a highlight as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So did you attend any special events or meet and greets?
I did not do the meet and greets because of my 22 list of between autographs. I was tapped out. I didn't know if I.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you, Megan. I had the two packets.
Yeah.
Let me pull you the side registration and let's go through this. Yeah, it was one of those
Exactly.
separate room kind of thing. But no, I didn't. I lived vicariously through you all. I know you had to be able to do some of the events too as well. But yeah, I didn't do any of the special events.
That's still awesome. Did you do anything special like around town or
Mm.
anything like that?
We did check out a little bit of those other side events they had. Honestly, we were just soaking in all the energy. It was such like a quick trip. We wanted to see some of the sites as well, and then just soak in that energy. So we just kind of lived in the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do wish like I feel like everything was so mapped out. Plus we
Mhm.
kind of stayed far away, so we had a little bit of a drive in the evening. So
Right.
there were more events in town at the local businesses and like the after parties and stuff
Right.
that I wish we could have like gone to, but it just didn't work out. So that's why we've said a couple times like we need to go back now and hopefully they'll continue with the momentum that this event created to
100%.
like continue having, even if a con isn't there, to have like cool events and stuff like that in Jackson. So
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Senko, I must say, your collection,
Mhm.
goals, just total goals. So I have to ask, did you get anything like special or specific signed by the cast?
Yeah, so kind of my thing. I'm an artist as well, a musician, but also like to paint portraits. Kind of is my thing. As a collector, you always want that one of one where no one else can get something. So I like to do portraits of the actors in their, so I'd be able to do that and get
They
them
came
signed
out
those paintings.
so good. I saw
Thank
them,
you.
blown away.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I do that. And then, of course, my whole place is completely covered with paintings and collectibles. Like you said, I've been collecting since the show started. I have a website called cincothings.com. Pretty much why I created it, because I kept on buying doubles of things. I forget what I have. So now I know it. I can look at it first, like, all right, I have that. Don't go buy that again.
That was actually really smart. Like, I think I don't even collect that much yet, and I already like have run into that problem. I'm like, wait, do I have that one already? Like,
Especially if you get
or
into the pre-ordering. If you pre-order something and then it comes to the stores, you're like,
man.
oh, I need that. And you grab it and then 2 weeks later, something shows up in the mail. Like,
I own like the same Eddie Pop over and over and over again because I'm
Yeah.
like, that's cool looking. I own it.
it would probably be helpful also, like Stacy, I know people buy you things. Like my brother has bought me a couple pops now that he knows that I'm
Right.
into them, and
Yeah.
he's gotten me ones that I already have. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe if
Thanks.
I have a little record of what I already have.
That's smart. Little spreadsheet. Which, Senko,
Yeah.
what would you say is your holy grail? Like your favorite piece in your collection?
So that's a different question to ask because one thing I have a holy grail that most Funko collectors wish they had. I have the gold hopper, the
No, you
40
don't.
count gold hopper.
way. Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm technically 40 in the world that can be a true completist at this moment until Funko decides to ruin our lives with another lower count or somewhere else.
I just got chills, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I did not pay the price. I had a friend.
I was gonna say, like,
There's
damn, Giselle Lauren.
backstory. I have a friend that went to they knew someone at Fun Days that got it. Wasn't a big Stranger Things. They were working with them. They went to a shop in San Diego. They got to did the transaction for me. So that's how I got it.
That's
yeah.
how I got my Steve, the San Diego one.
Yeah.
It was a trade through a friend who had doubles, and I was like, so many people. I'm like, I feel like you're judging me because you think I really spent that money. And
I
I'm
know,
like,
right?
but you know,
And you don't even keep it in the box. Like people
No,
think
I'm
people
such
do
an
judge you
ass.
on that.
I
Yeah,
know
right.
I'm such an ass. Which somebody once was like, "Do you throw the boxes out?" And I'm like, "No, I have a spare bedroom. I just throw all the boxes in." And they're like, "That's sick. That's sick."
Oh my gosh. Torture.
But yeah, your stuff is incredible. Not only
Oh,
your
thank you.
custom artwork, which I was like, I saw you walk by at one point, which how much of a pain was that, like carrying them in?
I got there early so I could park closely. And luckily with my wife being there to help me out, because we all know, right? You got things going. There's one time I had like 4 things happen at the same time. And I like, how am I going to do this? So I'm talking to the volunteers saying, I need to be here. My wife's standing in a line for holding this
Yep.
up. I'm like, Karen, yeah, it was a madhouse. And I knew that going into it. I mean, when you have all those cast members there in a short amount of time, I knew it was going to be okay. It's going to be a marathon.
Yeah, it was definitely overwhelming a little bit, but I felt like the staff handled it perfectly because anytime you were going to miss something,
Right.
they would make you priority and you'd be able to go first. But I was
Yeah.
supposed to reserve a spot in line for Megan, and I just see her across the crowd in the autograph room, and I'm sipping a sweet tea sitting on my ass, and she just goes, "Stacy, why are you in line?" And I'm like, I'm sipping a sweet tea. I'm in Georgia. Like, yeah, I
Yep.
wasn't
Get in
really,
line.
I
Stacy,
wasn't
get
really
in
the best
line.
at, holding places, but gave it a good solid effort.
It was still helpful to like, be with other people because I feel like
Yes.
Yeah.
sometimes you and Brandy would be in line and I could just like get in line with you, or like
Mhm.
Rachel would hold my spot in line, or yeah. So it was nice to have other people there that you knew that you could kind of like get help saving your place in
Teamwork
Absolutely.
line.
makes the dream work.
Yeah. But also what you said before though was like I was mentally prepared for that. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was
Training for
nobody's
weeks.
fault.
Training weeks. Getting
Yeah,
ready
it was
for it.
nobody's fault but my own for spending that much and buying that many things. Like,
And we
so
were funny too. Like Saturday night, we like stocked up on water and Gatorade because we were like, we're not making the same mistake. We're being hydrated. Like,
Right.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I need to like buy water bottles, bring them with me this time, like pack more protein bars.
There you
Like,
go. Right. Yeah. None of us got to eat. We were like standing in line all day, and yeah, there were long days, but it's totally
Worth
so
it.
worth it.
100%.
Did you got photo ops, correct?
Oh yeah.
What was your favorite photo op?
I like the duo of Gaten and Joe. That
Yep.
was great to have them. I had a nice little conversation with Gaten too, because his Mets were in the playoffs right there in trying to get into the World Series. So I had a little
Mhm.
nice talk with him about that. But having my 2 favorites right in one photo is great.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't pass that up. I remember it was like when that one dropped, I was like, I'm buying that one, Stacy. We're gonna
Yeah.
do it together. It's your birthday present.
There you
Like,
go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Incredible.
that was a fun one for sure. All right. Well, that was all of our questions we had. Do you have anything else about the con that you wanted to share?
I can talk a little bit about what the actor said about the paintings when they signed it.
Yes, please. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
All right, cool. One of the highlights was taking my paintings, like we talked about, to get them signed by the actors. And I remember sending it up to Maya, and she looked at hers, and she's like, "I've seen this online. I've seen you post this before." And she goes, "I'm going to take special care to sign my name really nice because you spend more time than anyone else here for getting something signed." She took her very meticulous signing her autograph. So that was really cool. And then Joe Keery is like, "Hey, it's me." He's all laughing. He goes, "I remember
Love
that
him.
scene in season 3." And so that was really cool too as well. Gaten just was like, "Oh my God, that's so long ago," because it's from a season 1. I did it when he was a little tyke. So yeah, those are some memories that were just great hearing about it. They just reacted so good. And overall, they were so kind.
I know.
It's such a hard job just to be there and, be genuine and like actually care about that. Because after a while, we're human.
Mhm.
Signing autographs and doing all that stuff, it's just tiring. So it was great. I didn't have any bad interactions.
That's awesome. And yeah, Maya looks at stories on Instagram. So she probably saw it on, like, if you
Probably,
tagged her
yeah.
in a story or
Yep.
something like that.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody was so great. And even the people who like weren't doing personalization, I feel like I still had a great conversation with them. And
Yep.
it's like they all set their own boundaries. And I feel like everybody was
Yeah.
cool with like respecting that, which was great. So yeah.
Do you do custom work, Cinco? Do you do like commissions?
I have in the past, but anything I do artistically, when it becomes a business kind of thing, I start not liking it. So I don't really do that anymore.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
100%,
Yeah.
like understand. Yeah, for sure. For
It
sure.
becomes a job, another job, and I'm like, I don't need more
Exactly.
jobs.
Exactly. Well, it was so fun to talk with you about your experience and just hear about some of those. I love the reactions
Well,
to the paintings. That was really cool. Thank you
is.
for sharing.
Yeah, they're super awesome.
All right. Well, we will talk to you soon, and we'd love to have you
Yes.
back on sometime because it would be really cool to talk more about collecting and things like
Mhm.
that. So,
Yeah, I would love to be
yeah.
on here.
Next, we are joined by our good friend and fellow pop collector, Oscar. How you doing, Oscar?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Pretty good.
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just still kind of recovering from our weekend together, but we're hanging in there.
Physically, mentally, and financially.
Yeah, more financially, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Worth it. Hashtag worth
Totally
it.
worth it. Totally worth it. And it was
Agreed.
just so much fun being able to run into you and talk with you and stuff because me and Megan were talking about this. That was such a highlight, of just meeting our friends and people that are all fans of the show. But we wanted to ask you,
Okay.
it's kind of a hard question. If you could pick one moment, whatever it is, an autograph, photo op, anything, what was your favorite moment of the weekend?
Oof. I mean, that's so it's so funny because there were so many highlights. So just to pick one, it's I don't want to say it's impossible, but I guess what my favorite, and I'll keep it a broad answer, was to meet all my, I gotta say, online friends, to put faces to all the names, to meet other people that share that interest, that bond that we create online. And you don't meet these people, you don't talk to them, but about that fandom stuff. And then to actually meet them and say, "Oh my God, it's you." Like, and I was listening to your podcast earlier, and it's like how you said, like, you're in front of Joe Keery, but he was so calm and so cool. It was like a regular person. Well, it was the same thing with meeting some of you guys. You guys have big followers, you have big fans, and I'm just honored to be around. And then to look around, I'm like, "Oh my God, it's you." And then, oh, there goes Joe Keery, there goes Millie Bobby Brown. I was like, it's so cool. It was a cool experience.
You're like, there goes Stacy Still. There goes
there
Joe
goes
Keery.
Stacy. There goes
It was
Maggie.
so funny when you ran into me. He was like, "Oh, I spotted the red headband." And I was like, "Yeah, some people are telling me not to wear it." And you were like, "No, that's your signature look."
Yes.
But your art piece that you took out, which we'll talk about in a bit, every time I saw you take that out, I'd nudge like strangers around me and I'd go, look at that. Look at that. He's going to get it signed. So so incredible. But it was definitely a highlight because you were one of the first people I met when I was in line. So just so great seeing you, man.
Likewise.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, speaking of like the cast members, who were you looking forward to meeting the most before the con, and then who ended up being your favorite?
Okay, so I'm gonna give two examples. I look forward to meeting Andre Gregory. I met him here in New York. Him and his agent Becky, and I bonded with them really well. Like we kept in touch on and off, and I mean, I look forward to seeing them again. So much that if I can do something local again with them, I would probably just go meet them just to say hi. I don't care if it's $40 to walk in. Okay, $40 just to say hi. It was definitely worth it. Then the other one was Mason Dye. I had no interest in grabbing his autograph. Well, I said, as you pointed out, I'm doing the poster. He is part of the cast. It's important to do. I said, you know what? I'll add him on. And when I left, his humbleness and his personality just made me, and I didn't do any of the events like the meet and greets. I didn't do the trivia. Just when I brought him the poster to sign, he enjoyed it. And my first question to him was, how was it being a villain? And he laughed and he said, it was pretty cool. I said, now you have to tell me how many people actually hated you. And he cracked up. He said, so many people. It was just tough to get by, but it was a great to play. And then just the way he interacted, it just left me like, man, that really cool, down to earth. Again, more humble. It's just with great experience.
I've heard nothing but good things. I had a photo op with him real quick with Brandy, and then we saw him for trivia, and he was just so laid back, you know, just so nice. Heard nothing but good things, and like, I'm kind of pumped to see him on the final season of The Boys because I was like, this is actually a pretty cool dude. So I'm glad that he's going on to other projects, you know?
Yeah, he was so cool. And he was one. So I had a photo op with everyone, but I didn't do an autograph with everyone. And he was one of the ones that I did not do an autograph with. And it's like kind of a regret because we got to like hang out with him a little bit at trivia, but it would have been cool to like get to just chat with him one-on-one for a minute and like just interact with him like you got to, because he seemed like such an awesome guy. So yeah, we've definitely heard multiple people enjoy meeting him.
Did you get to any of the panels? Because we know you didn't do any meet and greets or anything. Did you get to see any of the panels?
When we first got there, you guys and myself, we shared, I think, like the biggest list of what we were doing. You guys definitely beat me, but it was so cool to see, all right, somebody's up there with me. So I did catch the end of the panel for Alexi and Gregory.
Oh, nice.
I did also catch the end of the panel. I know it's Mason Dye, but I think Gregory was there with him too. So those are the only two, and both of them were at the end.
Yeah, that was like the last panel each day or something like that, I think. Cool. Yeah, I didn't get to either of those. I got to the first panel of the day on Saturday because like everything had been pushed back so much because of filming or whatever. So I was able to do that, which was like Jamie, Matthew, and Raphael. So it was cool that I got to at least see one of the panels. And I did see a little bit of like Amy Beth and Maya when they were doing theirs. Like I was just standing in the back for a little bit. But any highlights that you remember from the panels that you watched?
Watching Mason Dye, he also talked about and that made me more of a fan, was his responses. Somebody asked him, would you be friends with your own character? And he said no. He said no way. He goes he don't get me wrong, he'd be a great friend, but his response was, he's such a loyal friend that he might actually kill somebody for it. And it was just so like, the response was just great. Gregory also had the same question, and he said, just like Mason, he says, great guy, he'll have your back, but not my type. Maybe I'll drink a beer with him, but I couldn't keep him as a friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that
good.
was something that just like, I was like, yeah, that's so funny,
That's amazing. I love that.
Okay, so this is like the big question for you, I think, because you are a big collector and you had a lot of autographs. So can you tell us about the things that you got signed?
Oh wow. Okay. So I mean, so many. I think I went down with about, well, everything was doubled because you guys know I did the poster and I did the Funko Pops. I think one of my favorite pieces was the Creel House, and I had Raphael and Jamie also sign on that one piece. I think that is probably because I get to look at it every day. I put it right under my TV in the living room, so it's
Oh,
something
that's
I get to
awesome.
look at. That was one of my favorites to look at. And I have a lot of custom Funko Pops,
I
either with
love
art.
that.
Thank you. Either with art or prototypes. And prototypes are, the models that the Funko Pops are actually molded after.
Okay.
I hired an artist or commissioned an artist, Horde Customs. He's out of Florida, and he actually created a custom box for these prototypes. Now, prototypes are usually supposed to be displayed just open. You want to kind of display it. I just love the boxes and the art on the boxes. So I was able to get one of those signed from Millie also. So, I mean, it's a lot of, I think I did like 17, 18 pops. And then whoever was there, everybody signed the poster.
That poster was gorgeous.
Thank you. I just have to learn how to photograph it well because the photographs I take do not do it justice.
And it's so long too. Like the first thing I thought when I saw you take it out, I was like, man, he's gonna have to frame that, but did you have them sign in gold or silver or paint pens or Sharpies? How'd you do that?
All right, so they were Sharpie. I don't know if you recall that. I said use oil base. Now, these oil based pens that I did use or paint markers are actually glow in the dark or black light. So they only activate. So each actor's autograph only shows when you really hit it with the black light. And they enjoy it, I think, more than me watching them sign it. So each one had their own reaction. I think Caleb, he had one of the best response. He just looked at it, he goes, yo, this is so cool. Joe Carey also appreciated it. But they all, even Mason Dye,
Mhm.
Gregory was the first one, and he was just so sick, like happy signing it. Outside of the convention, I did get Mr. Clark and Counselor Kelly to sign also
Oh,
when I met
cool.
them in Texas. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's
Oh, that's
amazing.
awesome. Yeah. So did you knew you were going to bring it to the convention and then just got them beforehand too?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what I did was I actually, so the poster itself is from an artist from Spain. He made on Bottleneck Gallery. I like art, as you can tell, right?
Yeah.
So the art on it was from an artist named Pablo Oliveira. He's from Spain, and Bottleneck Gallery actually they're like an eBay or auctioneer for all these artists. The picture that I brought was one of 250. Now in my living room, I have already framed is one of 60 pieces, but that's more of a brown, gray, black and white painting of the same picture,
Oh, that's cool.
same size. So this one, I'm hoping to, when I finish all the autographs, display it with the nice black light either above or below it. So both of them can kind of accent each
That's
other.
gonna look so cool.
Yeah, that's
I can't
awesome.
wait.
Right?
And you got a good chunk of them at that event. So, yeah.
I think like all of us, we were all probably like, oh my God, this is going to ruin my pocket for a while. But after, it was worth every penny.
So worth it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. Anything else that you want to share about the weekend?
I mean, it was so great. Well, first off, I mean, I hope the Epic ladies listen and watch, and I think they did a fantastic job. I want to thank you guys, Jackie, Haley, the group we have, because I think that altogether, I think we all knew kind of like what to expect, and I think it made it easier for us to enjoy. I think like we didn't know what to expect, but we all helped each other on somewhat what to look for. It's
Exactly.
not your basic convention, but you will have fun. And I had a great time. It felt like a job. It was 9 to 5 back to the hotel, 9 to 5 back to the hotel, and just tired and no time for eating, no time for anything. It was an amazing experience. I would totally do it again.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's a really great way to put it. I don't know that I would restate it as well as you just said it, but just like we did kind of have an idea of what to expect, and that made us able to enjoy it because we had some like knowledge of kind of how it would be set up going into it. Because if you were kind of used to another type of convention, or if you've never been to a convention before, and it might have been a little bit more overwhelming, but like because we were so prepared, I guess,
Yeah.
we were able to have a great time.
And it
So
was nice, like, also, like, like, oh, well, what are you doing right now? Well, I'm in this line. Or, oh, did you hear that the schedule got pushed back? So it was nice to have that live communication among friends. If you were lost or not knowing what was going on, even though all the volunteers and everybody was so helpful, it's nice to have that kind of like inner circle where we were helping each other out,
I think
yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments were I was online, and I think it was for Joe Perry, and Gregory and his agent saw me, and well, Becky, and she saw me, and they got up from their booth, came over, gave me a hug because they remember me from New York. Then the staff that was working the con looked at me and like, who is this guy? But I know, I mean, to them, and to the situation, I'm nobody. Like, I'm just a regular person. But then people looked at me. And then when I went back on a line later, one of the staff said, I heard about you. And I said, would you hear? And she said, well, Becky over there said, you're an amazing, nice person. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Thank you. And it kind of made my day and the whole experience
Yeah.
like that much better.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
love that so much. That's
so
so cool.
sweet.
Also, it's really funny because I went to college with a lot of people from New York, and I forgot you guys say online instead of in line, and I'll cut that out, but I love it.
I love it.
I don't do online or IG. I don't go live often. And when I do, I always get somebody to go, that New York accent. And since we're talking about New York, Jamie Campbell was the first to he was my first autograph Saturday morning. And when we're online, I asked him where he's from because I didn't know if it was Australia. I know a lot of actors come from Australia, UK, so I couldn't differentiate. And
Yeah.
he goes, well, I'm from, UK. And he goes, well, I know with your accent, you're from New York. And he just laughed about it.
I love it.
So he called me out, and he was also pleasant about it too. And
Yeah.
he enjoyed the poster, brought up conversation. Like you said, these are like famous people. These are stars, but they treated us like they were regular. Just
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
people. It was
Yeah.
an amazing
So
time.
cool.
It was awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was a delight to
I
just
know.
hear your experience and get to chat with you. So we appreciate it, and we hope to talk to you again sometime.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I had a great time. Thank you.
All right. So our next guest today is our friend Cubby from Cubby Collects. So we are super excited to chat with him about the con, and we were so excited to meet you in person. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited. You guys are icons.
No, that's
Stop that
you.
nonsense. Your collection, I need to say, Cubby, goals. Like, whenever you post something, it's just visual eye candy. Like, it's just amazing. So in awe of your collection.
Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you think of that, because I'm like, at times I'm like overwhelmed because like you guys see like the pretty like TikTok social media corner, but then
To
like
the side of the room.
to the
Yeah.
right of me, it's a disaster. Like literally. And that's gonna be my project this coming week, is to make it look pretty and get everything up. But like, yeah, I'm so glad like that it's appealing to the audiences,
is.
because visually, like, this is what I wanted in my head, because this was like the space I created to like come in and be creative, to like
Yeah.
escape. And it's been a great space for me, but for my kids too. My kids come in here, they're on the floor, they're writing, drawing, and so that's a space we wanted. So it worked out for everybody, I think.
I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool to have a space like that. No, you see a blank corner behind me because this room that I'm recording is a disaster. I would love to make it a better like space like that. It's just
Remember the time
finding-
your camera flipped
yeah.
and you were like mortified? You were
Yeah.
like, that's the messy side of the room. And I'm
We
like,
were-
we all
we're
have a messy
live.
side.
And my camera, I was trying to read the comments and I like accidentally flipped my camera and it was a disaster.
Haley said it's the same thing. She goes, right off camera, you don't see all the empty Funko boxes and stuff. I'm like, the struggles of a collector.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
worth it though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when enough will be enough. You know what I mean?
Keep going.
Never.
It's just like,
Never.
yeah, it just keeps going and keeps growing. I just added stuff today. It was Star Wars stuff. It was Star Wars stuff because
There you go.
Oh.
You need more Star Wars stuff for sure.
that.
like this corner is actually a Harry Potter corner and then a Marvel corner,
Oh, cool.
but nobody watches my stuff when I don't post about Stranger Things. So it's kind of like be content and let it be for me sometimes. But
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. All right. So we're going to ask you the hard question first.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite moment from the convention?
okay, like if people follow my content, you know that like I'm the #1 Nancy Wheeler stan, right? Like there's not gonna be anybody else that's gonna go toe for toe with me. I'm Nancy's #1 stan. And meeting Natalia was the absolute greatest thing. But I will say, I was shocked because at the very last minute, I bought Mason Dye's meet and greet, and he was the standout for me that weekend. It was just, he was like outgoing person. He overshared,
Love that.
funny. It was just, he was incredible. And then like everybody that I talked to was like from the homecoming court, and like Jackson Escape Game said like, because they hosted the homecoming court, right?
Yeah.
I think they commented on the video and were like, he did a phenomenal job. And then my friend Kayla was at trivia and they were like, he's wonderful.
He was
Everywhere
great at
he
that.
went, I think he left like a huge impact. So for me, I think he was like my greatest like takeaway from the weekend. I mean, Natalia was a very close, like,
That's your girl. Come on.
yes. I mean, being in her presence, I mean, you were there with me.
I
Right, it
was.
was incredible.
I know. I was saying I had to like nudge you and be like, you have to ask your question because you were just sitting there in awe of her.
I know. I was like, if my jaw is dropped, like, pick it up for me.
I love that.
I was trying not to be awkward in front of her, but I was like, at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I'll ever be in the room with these people again. So it's
Good
like,
way of
I'm
looking
gonna
at it.
make sure that at least my goal was to like be funny, ask interesting questions, and like,
Yeah.
like make them remember, try to make them remember you. They're gonna see hundreds of people. So every time I saw Natalia, I was like, Nancy's a baddie. I'm your #1 stan. Like, I let her know I'm the #1. And I said that, I don't know if everybody heard it because I had made a joke about her being a baddie and then everybody laughed. But I said, I'm the #1 Nancy Wheeler stan in the meet and greet. So,
Look
Yeah,
at that. You got to laugh in and everything. I think mission accomplished.
absolutely.
yeah, that was okay. One of the things from that weekend was I made a lot of them laugh. Like I made Millie and her team. I don't remember who it was, but there was a bunch of people behind her during the autos,
hmm
and I made them all laugh because I was like, I'm a flow bro. Florence by Mills, like I use it, and she laughed. I was like, okay, good. I'm good.
Mission accomplished. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's like you defeated the final boss. You got Millie to laugh. So
Millie
there
was
you
like,
go.
yes, Millie, I would say would be the final boss to like break.
Yeah.
You know, all of her meet and greets were in one day, so she was like flying through.
Busy.
But I got it.
You got it, man. I love that so much.
Your videos are always very funny too. So
They
I feel
are.
like you make a lot of people laugh. So we appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
That feels
welcome.
really good to hear because I am a very extreme overthinker. Like, okay, is this going to be funny? Is this going to be perceived the right way? Is this going to go to the right audience? And
Is it going to land? Yeah.
is it going to, yes, is it going to land? Because like, it's just so hard. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
like, I do like very like, I mean, I'm always going to make like a Big Daddy Hopper joke and like take the trend and make it into Stranger Things. But I'm like, please land. Please do good.
Right. Right.
Yes.
I think most of the times it absolutely does. And I think Stacey definitely understands that because she has a great story. They're definitely going to remember you from the ice cream social, Stacey. Like there's no way they're not going to remember
yeah.
that. So
I took a chance with a question that I asked. We're joking around with Hannah Sarah with her episode, like, what would you ask them? And I said, oh, I had this great icebreaker. Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or a dozen duck-sized horses? And literally Maya and Kiri loved it. Like, because everyone was asking great questions.
I
but they're all kinda,
I did not want her to ask this question.
You
I
were
thought I was going to be
mortified.
so embarrassed, and
Yeah.
I kind of still was.
As soon as I said it, I saw her soul leave her body because she was like, "You are not allowed to ask that." And I'm like, "No, don't worry, I won't." I asked it. And then they went for the dozen-size, duck-sized horses. And then Kiri asked me, "Okay, well, I got a question for you. Would you rather fight a 10-foot Dwayne The Rock Johnson or three 3-foot Vin Diesels?" And I went, three-footers all the way. So
Yeah.
afterwards on the sidewalk, Megan looked at me and she goes, "I can't believe you did that because that landed perfectly and they loved it."
Yeah.
There was a big percentage that it just could have flopped and it would have
Yeah.
been awkward. So I feel like that's a good outlook you have, Cubby. Like, when are you ever going to have the chance to do that again?
Yeah.
You know, do it.
Yeah. But honestly, that question was probably the most perfect question for those two.
Exactly.
Yeah, their energy, they just matched her energy completely. They were like, "Oh my gosh, we were just talking about something similar." Like it landed so well with them where like I feel like it could have gone either way.
I mean, Kiri is like,
He was
he's
wonderful.
freaking hilarious, and he's pretty much like go with the flow.
Yeah,
Like,
very laid back.
his stuff was like very relaxed, and I took my Squishmallow with me, and they're like, "He's not gonna hold that, don't ask." And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll hold it, whatever. As long as it's in the picture with me, no biggie."
Yeah.
I get there, and he's just like, "What is that?" I was like, "Dude, that's you. Like, as a Squishmallow, this is you." He's like, "Well, let's hold it together." And it was just like the most like,
I love that you zoomed in. You were like, "We're holding hands."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, you are."
let it be known. Hannah, Sarah, I know you're gonna listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
I held his hand. Okay.
Well, competition.
Just like Brandy and Monica, that boy is mine. Okay?
Great reference. That is a great reference. But yeah, speaking of the guest, who are you looking forward to meeting the most? And then who ended up being your favorite?
Ooh. I mean, I was really excited to see Maya because she never does it. She just barely did her first one last year, I think, the Chicago one. So I was really excited to see her. And she was like everything you see, like she is like perfect. She's high energy, very, very loving too. But yeah, my favorite, I think I'm gonna stick with Mason. I'm like really like surprised because I think some of those like side characters or characters that are only in one season,
Mm-hmm.
you don't think they have that much of an impact, but like him as a person, I'm like I could be a Jason Carver stan now. I could get behind him.
Yeah.
I do love that you came out of the meet and greet and you were like, he popped some lactate before he ate the ice cream. And I'm like, he's one of us.
That was the first thing he said before he even as he was sitting down, he was like, he ordered his ice cream. He sat down. He's like, I had to pop 2 lactates before this. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have a great time.
Yep,
here.
exactly. He just set the tone. Yep.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
was like very relaxed. He didn't really like. I mean, it didn't feel like there was anything off limits for him. He told us that, which I can't remember it now, but he did tell us the town he lived in, and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I shouldn't have said that."
Yeah.
And we talked about him joining the boys in season 5.
I'm so excited for that.
I brought that up, and
Mhm.
he was like, "Yeah, we're doing costume changes, and the color of my costume is this and this and this." He's like, "Oops, I shouldn't have said that." Don't worry. I'm like, don't worry. This is a safe space for us here.
Did
Yeah.
you get the vibe, Cubby, from the guests that they really weren't like celebrities? They were just very laid back and chill. Did you kind of get that vibe from them?
Yeah, I think most of them that had came across were. I mean, I think there was one that was like, "Okay, you're a celeb," like, but
Mhm.
we know. The rest of them were really, really great. I mean, and I know, like, I didn't see Gaten this time because I had just seen him and Caleb in June, but I know I heard from people, and like people like Joe and like Charlie were like, "Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much." And Maya said that too in the photo op. Like when they thank these people for showing up and like spending their money to travel, to be there, like I think that's what the biggest takeaway is. Like they actually really care about people showing up for them. So I think most of them are pretty chill.
Yeah, they appreciate their fans,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. And they seemed really excited to meet us, which
Exactly.
was so surreal, you know?
Yeah. And I think the person I can think who was most least celeb like, I guess, was Maya.
Yeah,
Like,
which is like because of her parents
Yeah.
and, you know, where she grew up. You're
So
just like,
impressive. Yeah.
wow.
yes, she was just like, I said, hey, thank you so much for coming. And she's like, oh my gosh, no, I'm so glad people are showing up. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for being in. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she thanked me. I'm like, you
Class
know?
act. I'm telling you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was great.
hmm And we talked about, for that brief minute we had at the auto, we talked about her music and her as an actor. She was like, they kind of meld. Because I was asking her, like, what's the creative process that you do to get into? Or do you just get it randomly? She's like, I'm so thankful I get my creativity in like random bursts and jots it down. And I was like, well, do they ever like meld together? You're singing and you're acting. And she's like, all the time. She's like, a character will inspire music, and then a music I might take away and like put it into a character. I'm like, that's so cool. So she was
That's really
fantastic.
cool. Yeah, she was very well spoken, like very intelligent,
Mhm.
fascinating.
And she really, you can see how Maya and Robin come together because
Mm-hmm.
she is well spoken, she talks very clear, but she talks fast.
Yes.
Those little like Robin monologues where she's going very, very fast. I'm like,
The frantic energy.
that's
Yeah.
all Maya right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought
Yeah.
that was cool too to see in person.
She did say, I think at the ice cream event too, that all of the characters, and I feel like even Gaten said this too, a couple of them mentioned it, like the Duffer Brothers over the 5 seasons have really incorporated a lot of their personalities as actors into the characters.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, there is separation there. She's not Robin, but there's a lot of Robin that comes from Maya.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's like the same as all of them, I think.
And I think that's like so smart too, because really like they get so much stronger in their acting as it goes along. And it's probably because those two at some point overlap and mold together really well. So yeah. Because I mean,
Yeah.
think about Caleb in season 4. That was like his season.
He acted his ass off. Like he was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mm.
So good.
Yeah. Incredible. So you talked about Natalia's meet and greet that I was at with you. You talked about Mason's meet and greet. Did you do any other special events or meet and greets throughout the weekend?
Those were the only 2 that I did. I had Charlie's, and then they ended up filming super late, so Natalia's got bumped. So I was like, I really wanted to meet Charlie too, but I dropped him and I had to go. Nancy.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't risk not having that. I would say those 2 were like fantastic. But did you guys try the Hellfire shot?
No. Where was the Hellfire shot?
Oh my gosh, I have to post the video, but I don't know if social media will let me post me taking a shot. I did it with Adam Murray, and it was, what is it, Fireball, some Sprite, and some, I don't even know because I don't even drink.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even drink, so I don't even know what's in there, but I know it's like Fireball and Sprite. Oh my gosh, it was intense. My throat was like, the hellfire was in my throat.
Oh my
It was just
God.
burning
That sounds
all the
awesome.
way
Right?
down.
I love a good
Themed drink.
and a good fireball shot. Like it's very
Fireball is
warming.
tasty.
I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not a big drinker. I don't really ever drink, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. Like me and Adam went in together, and yeah, that was crazy.
That's awesome that you did a shot with him.
I was like hugging Adam. I was like, this is why I don't do it. It's burning everything. I was like,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The friendship that you have with Adam Murray, who is an actor from Stranger Things. And yeah, so we got to talk to him when you guys were coming out of dinner on
Yep.
Sunday night. So
Oh,
that was
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
he was just like a very early like supporter of mine. He
Mhm.
got behind like what I did, and I thought connecting with him was like the coolest thing ever. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, he's in the show. Like he is in the show, and he really is like a pivotal thing in season 4 because he's the one that sees Erica, puts together that they're at the crew house, makes the
Yep.
call to Jason, and Jason shows up. Had that call not been made, Max probably would have still been alive.
Yep. Domino effect.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's very pivotal for him being in 2 episodes. But seriously, he's like the nicest dude. I went to Stranger Things locations with him in June. He's just so funny. He's a stand-up
Yeah.
comedian too. He was just in Ghostbusters, the end credit scene. He
Mhm.
did that all by himself in that blockbuster movie. So like he's just so kind, and I always like root for him. I'm always excited to see what he's in because I'm like, dude, you're always in good stuff.
Yeah,
She-Hulk,
absolutely.
Cobra Kai, like, come on, man.
I was very impressed when he walked over to the table, looked down at my arm, and he went, "Is that Bug from Uncle Buck?" And he is the second person ever to clock that tattoo. And I was like, "You have a good eye," you know. So
Yes,
clearly knows his pop culture, you know. So I
yes,
love
it's
it.
like movie, like that's incredible. It's an encyclopedia of movies. Like
I love that.
he's just a walking film guru. It's incredible.
And that must have been something you really liked, Cubby. Like, you know, obviously the friendships and the people that you met not only through your content, but through this fandom over that weekend.
Yeah, it was like connecting with like you, like connecting, first of all, connecting with other creators that like I follow, admire, like I admire what you guys put out into like this fandom. That was like really incredible because I feel like at certain points we all inspire each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was like a really scary thing too, because like sometimes people can be jerks when you or not live up to the hype. I'm like, everybody literally lived up to the hype. Every
Yeah.
single person, especially like
Everyone was
like
awesome.
Upside Downer group, everybody literally just was incredible, kind, loving, funny. Like, it was just so great to meet everybody in person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I said
everyone
that
was
to
so chill.
Haley too. I was like, it felt like we like knew each other forever. Like we all just
Yeah,
got
Mhm.
along so well.
I
So it
honestly
was
like
cool.
I didn't feel 1 ounce of awkwardness meeting anybody.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was really like, oh hey, it's nice to see you guys again. Like, I'm like
Exactly.
that's my
Yep.
first time meeting these people.
Yeah.
I was like, just I don't know. It just felt like throughout the whole weekend we were just like walking up to each other randomly, and I was like, I feel like I've known y'all for like a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It was
that
cool.
It's
that was
amazing.
really great. And then meeting like fans and followers was like super trippy because I probably the same for you guys. And I think I talked about it with y'all. It's like you film your video and like you see it accounts like your stuff, comment, but you never put a person to it. And so seeing people was like just like tangible evidence that like, oh yeah, like I'm actually connecting with people. People actually like what I'm putting out. And like
Yeah.
hearing some of the stories, like this one father was like, I just love being in your lives. It's just like a little like escape for an hour ish of like no anxiety. Just I don't have a lot of friends in like person, but I feel like we just like get along and everybody's so nice. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so
Well,
much
you
for
made
that.
an impact. That's really sweet. I love that.
Because I talk about this all the time. I'm like, sometimes I still carry this idea that like being nerdy and geeky. Because listen, when I was in high school,
Yeah.
you got your butt whooped, right? Now it's like very cool to be in these fandoms and things. And so like sometimes I'm like, oh, I still feel like this like loser in high school. But I'm like, oh, but like it's different
Now
now. I
it's
can
cool
make
to
an
be a
impact.
nerd.
Yeah. I'm
Yep.
like, y'all have it so lucky now.
Exactly.
I had to tread
Mhm.
so lightly when I was in school.
I know. I don't get it.
Man.
Like
And so I still carry that with me that I'm like, oh, people think I'm cool, but like I'm just like an anxious overthinker, nerdy collector in his collection room. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are
Mhm.
anxious
100%.
overthinkers.
there's like a running trend in these like Stranger Things collectors, content creators.
Very similar personalities. Yeah, I love it. I'm like, oh, this is why we all get along. Which I wanted to ask, what did you obviously met a ton of the cast. What did you get signed or autographed?
I only got the photos autographed.
Ooh.
So I've been planning this behind or in front of me behind this computer is a blank wall. So I want a big wall of just framed autos, the pictures there. And I wanted to cover this entire space back here. But I'm trying to figure out what's the coolest way to do this. And I think I'm going to get a neon sign, maybe
Whoa.
a Stranger Things one or a Starcourt one,
Ah.
and then put all the photos right there.
So did you get photo ops with everybody?
Pretty much. I think I missed Alexi, Susie, and Amy Beth. I think that was it. I think not everybody else.
Mhm.
Yeah, now I'm
That's
oh
pretty
shit,
good.
I should have just got everybody.
I know, that's what I ended up doing. I added a couple at the last minute. And luckily before schedules came out, because I was telling somebody else, if I had seen schedules, I probably wouldn't have added those last minute ones because I would
Yeah.
have freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was I added them at the very last minute. I got the duo with Andre and Alec, and I got Amy Beth. I had already gotten the Gaten and Gabriella duo, so that's how I got her. I was I just have to get everybody. I didn't get everybody's autograph though, so I kind of regret a couple of them that I didn't get, but it is what it is.
What was your favorite photo op that you did, Cubby?
Oh, I want to say Charlie's, because I told him I was I admire him and Natalia, and when you see them the paparazzi photos or whatever, I'm they have the best style.
Right? They're just the cool couple.
Yeah, it's very a street and rock mixed together. And my photo op was the first time that I had seen Charlie. And I was dude, I'm so glad you're here. You're my style icon. I just love the looks that you do. And he was oh my gosh, are you serious? Yes, dude, you're so fashion forward. And that's what I'm trying to model myself after. And he was I can't believe that. That's insane.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. My goal was I gotta let y'all know, while I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they mean and what the show means, because I've said this a few times, especially to Megan, we were really lucky because I felt this was a once in a lifetime experience, that they were filming down there, that they got that much of the cast
Yes.
while filming the final season. So you must have at one point, much like us, gone wow, this is a once in a lifetime experience. This is so cool that we're doing this,
Yeah, I feel I didn't really realize it while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I didn't take everything in while I was there. But when I was leaving, I was that's a majority of the cast that I just met.
Yep.
I can knock out so many, off the cast list. I knocked out so many. And I'll probably never get Winona.
Oh, damn it.
She's going to be the one that I miss, but I was yeah, that will probably never happen again. Unless my thing is Netflix needs to do a Netflix con and get.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Or they could invite us all to the premiere. I'll put that out into the universe.
Yeah, let's manifest that.
I second that.
I like that energy.
Netflix, if you're listening. I'm sure you're listening, Netflix.
Absolutely.
We're ready to go to the premiere.
Yeah, we'll be there. Yeah, it was incredible. Is there anything else that you feel you want to share about your weekend?
I really appreciate that Epic opened the meet and greets up at some of those smaller businesses, because Stranger Things is going to be what Jackson, Georgia is known for. And I think
100%.
The show has done so much for that small town, because it's 5,000 people or something there, maybe even less than that. I can't remember the number.
It's such a tiny town, but it's adorable and they're so welcoming.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
It's really great that Jackson embraces the show so much. They are fully aware, this is what they're going to be known for. And there's a lot of Stranger Things shops that are there. And obviously, they're going to be the anchors of that downtown square. But I'm glad Epic really introduced us to some other small town, some of those small boutiques in there. Because I met some great. You introduced me to, I think she was the owner. Is that right? Lena, is it Lena and Jane?
Of Lena Jane. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was Allie, the owner. Yep. That I
Mhm.
introduced you to.
And that was really, really great and such like a cute little shop. And I love my hat and I love my sweatshirt from there. But like, honestly, I might not have ever stepped foot in there
Yeah.
if they really hadn't done that. But like, next time I'm in Jackson, I'm like, I'm going to go shop around, go back into Lena Jane.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you go into Vintage Vineyard? She had the portal on her door.
Yeah, she had it open.
And
Yes, I
So
did.
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
She's the one with stronger
Stronger
drinks.
drinks.
Stronger drinks. Yeah.
Yes.
We each got one.
Yeah.
Well, it was super fun to talk to you about this. And we definitely feel like we could probably talk to you a lot longer. So you'll have to
Yep.
come on with us again sometime. And
Please.
maybe we can talk about some stuff during season 3. That would be fun.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun.
So now we are joined by our friend Chris, content creator extraordinaire over at Filmstock. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you guys again. Last time we saw each other was in person, so we're back to the Zoom internet format.
Exactly. And you looked amazing, as
Thank
did your
you.
girlfriend, dressed as Hopper and Joyce season 3.
Had to. And the funniest thing about the whole cosplay I did was my aunt texted me after I posted on Instagram. She said, "What happened to your eye?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "What do you mean?" And then she was like, "The picture." She sent me. And I was like, "Oh, it was just makeup." So
You should have been like this huge Russian guy came out of nowhere. It was crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty alarming. So I was like, "Oh, what do you mean my eye? Did something like happen? I don't know."
That's
it
a
looked
sign
realistic.
of
Yeah.
a good cosplay. Yeah, you're fooling people. So I want to ask Chris, what would you say, and I know this is a hard one, but what would you say was your favorite part of the entire convention?
So it was, I mean, I could answer this so many ways, but honestly, I have to say for me, I was able to host a panel with 2 stars of Stranger Things Season 3, Alec Utkov, Andrei Evchenko, and that was the coolest thing to me. It was the very end of the con. I could talk about, photo ops, meet and greets, all that, but this was just a really cool new opportunity for me. I was very nervous leading up to it, but once I got up there, all that kind of went away once I did the intro. But that was really neat because I obviously got to talk to the 2 stars of the show. It was a cool opportunity, career-wise, but also it was really neat rather, to see people walk up, ask a question, and they would say "Love your videos, Chris," and then they would ask it. So it was cool to meet people who also who watch my videos in person. So all of that.
That panel, I was only able to catch the tail end of it, but it was just you are a dream moderator because not only are you a
Thank
fan,
you.
but it didn't seem rigid. It didn't seem scripted. It was just a bunch of dudes having a nice conversation. So I really, really enjoyed that.
That
Yeah.
means a lot. Thank you.
I didn't get to see it in person, but I watched the whole thing on YouTube, and I'm so glad that you were able to put it up. And it was a lot of fun, and it looked like you were having a great time. It was a really fun conversation. I was cracking up at some of the guys, their answers. So, and I feel like I've mentioned things that happened in that panel multiple times already on
so
our
good.
episodes. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, well, in the panel.
They were really nice and welcoming, and I told them after I got to talk to them for a brief second, and I told them both, I was like, "Thank you guys for being awesome. That was actually my first ever panel that I moderated." And Alec was like, "What?" He was
Yep.
stunned by it. I was like, "That's really." It was flattering to me, and it was also encouraging to hopefully do that again. It was a confidence builder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. And it was so great to meet you in person. And I know that we enjoyed meeting all of the cast so much. So we were wondering, for you, who were you most excited to meet? And then who ended up being your favorite?
For me, it's a very easy answer, but I was most excited to meet Joe Keery just because we all love Steve as a character. It was great to finally meet him. And then I would say he was probably my favorite interaction because I got to
Yes.
meet him twice. I got an autograph once. Very cool. It was the first thing I did. I was like, damn, I wish I could meet someone else to kind of break the ice, but it's Joe Keery. It was a little, you're got flustered a bit. So I met him. It was cool. But then when I met him again the next day for the photo op, I walked up to him in the David Harbour as Hopper cosplay, and he was like, "Dude, you're killing it." And I was like, "Thank you, man." And he goes, "It's David Harbour in the flesh." And I was
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
I didn't even know what to say. He
Yep.
snaps a photo, and then he like patted me on the back, and we walked away. I was like, that was my favorite interaction the whole weekend, I'd say, with the celebrity.
He
That
was a class act. Like, he was awesome.
Yeah, I think everybody had very similar positive interactions. And like that, my very first interaction with him at a photo op, which was one of my first photos, was probably my favorite too, because it was like, you're expecting to just like take a quick photo, not to like talk to the person. And he was just kind of like having
Yeah.
a conversation when you came in and just being so kind and genuine. And he made like a joke. I think I told him that it was good to see him. And he was like, "Yeah, it's good to see you too. It's funny we're all here on the same day." Like, oh my gosh.
Can't even.
I'm like laughing in the photo, and that's like a genuine laugh because he like just made me laugh.
Mhm.
Like, so that was really cool. He was amazing and
He was
definitely
really sweet.
exceeded our expectations and made us even bigger fans, if that was even possible, I
Mhm.
think. So yeah, absolutely.
Did you attend any meet and greets or special events, or were you just like too busy?
I didn't. I was basically like full on autographs more than anything because I have like autograph Funko Pop collection, and I'm trying to get everyone from Stranger Things. You guys can't really see, but there's a couple behind me.
Mhm.
So I was in autograph line most of the time. I got a couple photo ops as well, but I didn't do any of the meet and greets or the experiences. But I know you guys did, right?
Yeah, we
You
did.
We talked about that, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We got front row seats to Joe and Maya's ice cream
Mhm.
social event. And like, you can just tell what good friends they are and like what kind of chemistry they have, because it was just really laid back and casual. And, you know, they didn't act like celebrities at all. They just acted like people hanging out, which was awesome.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm glad that everyone I met, for the most part, I was able to have at least a quick interaction with.
Did you meet everybody?
I met not everybody, but a good
Mhm.
chunk of people. I'll just rattle them off.
Yeah.
Joe Keery, Maya Hawke, Jada Campbell Bower, Caleb, who plays Lucas, and then we met Millie, and then I think one more that could be escaping. Oh, we met Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
yeah, we met a good bit of them.
So you guys were busy. Yeah.
a lot. The first day, pretty much the entire day, we were standing in line for autographs. But I will say, compared to some of the cons I've been to, like the huge ones, like the fan expos and everything, like it was way less time in line, which I'm okay with, because I've waited in line because it's not really organized.
For
some of the big
hours.
cons.
Yeah.
4 hours once to meet Christopher Lloyd, who plays Doc Brown, and that was the longest I've ever waited. Very long line.
Yeah.
But it's because he was there 30 minutes, and the people who work there don't know when he's coming back. And so, he's on a break. He'll be back at 2:30 now, and you're just waiting. But if you leave, you're going to have to get back in line. So you kind of just camp out. I'm glad that they had it grouped off and it had a structure
The
here.
groups and everything worked. And I have to say, like, I know you go to a lot of shows, Chris, but I think Epic did a really great job too, because I know that there was overlapping. Like, you know, Megan, I know you ran into that a few times. You would be in line for an autograph, but you had either a meet and greet or a photo op. And if you told any of the volunteers, they would go, okay, you have top priority. You can go on the VIP line. Go ahead and get your stuff done. Like, it ran very smoothly, because I stood in line almost 6 hours at Fan Expo New Orleans to meet Joseph Quinn. And I was like, I want to die a little bit right now,
It's
you know?
horrible.
Yeah.
It's so awful to
Mhm.
stand for that long. Yeah, like Joseph Quinn at cons, I've been there with my girlfriend who loves Joseph Quinn, and I waited with her. And it's like you wait 2 hours to get a ticket to come back and wait for 3 more hours. And it's like, good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I was in lines all day, but it was like productive because I literally got so many things. Like I
Yeah.
got so many autographs and photo ops. So it was okay. I knew I was going to be in lines all day, and I got everything done that I wanted to
Mhm.
do. So yeah, it was great. And they were all great. All the people that you said. I loved meeting Charlie and Natalia. I got autographs with them separately, and then I got their duo photo op. But then I also did Natalia's meet and greet, which was super cool.
Oh,
She was
cool.
like so sweet and so friendly. And we had like a great conversation with her and just chatted for like 45 minutes basically the whole time of the meet and greet, which I've heard that some of the other meet and greets, they only talk for part of the time and then they would kind of like shop and do other things in the shop that they were in. So it was cool that like everybody was like chatting with her the whole time. So I also did Gaten's meet and greet on Sunday night, which was really fun. He was cool. So
I've been able to meet him at a past con, and he was very talkative, which is cool. I like when you go to an autograph table and they're like open to discussing for a little bit, you know, about whatever. Like I think we talked about musicals or something.
Yeah, that's so funny. My friend came with me to get Gaten's autograph, and I had not seen this video, but I guess there was like a video that went viral of him looking at candy and like pulling out a push pop and like going like push pop, like I don't know, look it up. I had never seen it until we were literally standing in line, and she was like, hey, like, have you seen that video? I wasn't sure if I was going to meet him, but I brought a push pop. And I was like, yeah, like, come with me, give it to him. So she gave it to him and he thought it was really funny. He was like, oh man, that video had a moment. So he knew like what she was like referring to. And then we basically just talked about how I was going to go to his meet and greet and stressed him out about like, because I was like, well, it's soon. And he still had a whole line of people to sign. And the volunteer was like, it's okay. You've got time. Like,
don't listen to this girl. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that's great. they were all awesome. So yeah, that's super cool that you got to meet all of them. And tell us more about things that you got signed. So did you get some pop signed or other things?
I did. Honestly, I can show you guys. I have some right behind me. I'll grab these two for now, but these look great next to each other. I'm happy with how it turned out. I got the Steve and Robin pops, and they're like from season 3, and I have them next to each other. Pink ink for Steve, blue for Robin, and I'm like, this is just the perfect duo.
That really is.
Paint pens, Megan. Those are paint pens. Yep.
Gotta go paint pen. Gotta go paint pen. Like, and I didn't realize that until like I started getting the Funkos and someone suggested them, and I was like, oh. So I ordered
night
some.
And day. Yep.
And it is, and it lasts because I have one pop now too, unfortunately, with regular Sharpie. One of them was at a Teen Wolf thing, and the main guy signed in like silver regular Sharpie, and it's like faded. But black is the one that looks the best. But we met Millie Bobby Brown, and I have her pop. It's in another room right now, and she was only doing Sharpie. Like they were like refusing paint pens, and I was like, dang, like I have a pen right here. I was like shaking it, but they were like, no, we can't use it. So that kind of bummed me out. Yeah. But the other pops I got Steve and I have Steve here. Cam got the other Steve, like the San Diego Comic-Con with the bat. She got that one signed.
So smart. I love that.
In white paint pen, so it really pops.
Ooh, yeah. Good choice.
I got a Jonathan and Nancy, like the season 1 pop. So Jonathan has a camera and Nancy has like her, you know, her little outfit with the revolver.
Oh.
And then we got 01 from season 4, like in his white signed. And then who else we got? Oh yeah, Lucas. I have it right behind me. I'll grab it real quick. This one in orange looks really cool.
Oh, that's a good one you got.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the season 4 basketball pop got it.
You had to, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all the pops we got signed at the con, and then nothing else that wasn't a pop, surprisingly.
Was it hard carrying them, or did you guys like go to your car? Like, what did you do?
We usually bring a tote bag. We got one from the Funko store when we went out there, and so they stack really well on top of each other. My thing is always like after I get them to sign it, I'm like blowing on the plastic for like a freak for like 10 minutes. I'm just like walking around blowing.
Yeah.
And then once I'm like, it's probably dry enough, I wait even longer. And then I put it into one of the little protectors. But it can be annoying. Fortunately, we live in Georgia, so we were able to just drive back to our place after. But and I've never actually, well, I have once. Flying, which I know you guys did, right? Flying and then having to travel is stressful. It adds that added layer of stress with the Funkos.
Chris, I'm not even kidding you. So like the souvenir for the ice cream event was an ice cream scooper. And I looked at Megan because it's a metal ice cream scooper. And I didn't check a bag. I had a carry-on. And I went, this ice cream scooper cost me $500. You need to fly home with it because TSA will take it away. I was like, nope. So I can only imagine people flying with Funko Pops because how do you do it, you know?
I would imagine you get like a spare carry-on, like hard suitcase.
Yeah.
You bring it with you empty, and then you just fill it up. But even then, that's what I think the hardcore collectors would have to do, or just ship it. Like you go to like ship it all from after the convention before you fly out.
Yeah,
But
honestly,
I don't know. Yeah.
stressful.
Yeah, I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna regret maybe like not getting some Funkos signed because it was just too much to
There's
Mhm.
a
bring
lot
them.
going
Like,
on,
I
man.
I did not plan out my autographs very much, and at some point I was like, I'm just more paying for like the interaction with them
Yeah.
in my mind, and
Yeah.
I'm just like getting a little souvenir like from that interaction. So that was the way I kind of looked at it. But I feel like in the future I'm gonna wish, like, I'm gonna look at all my Funkos and be like, I could have gotten them signed.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool to go before and after at the con. I was like looking at all the pops like the day before, and I was like, these are gonna have ink on them soon. And now
Oh.
it's like I had after. I was like, it's a thing of beauty.
It's
It-
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It is. It is.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share about your experience at the Upside Down?
I would say, honestly, aside from meeting everyone at the con, the celebrities and the panel, it was really the first time for me ever where I'd been at a convention and multiple people have walked up to me and said, "Hey, Chris, I love your videos." And the coolest thing was like a lot of people said I wouldn't be here. Like they didn't know about the con until I
Yep.
made like a video about it, which was really neat. And to see so many different people that are fans of Stranger Things, it just reminds me how great the fandom is. Like people like in high school, middle school, but then like there's someone with like her grandkids there who's like, I love watching your videos.
Mhm.
It's just like all different sorts of people, and that was really cool to me. And again, it just motivates me personally to continue like with what I do as content creator, because I make a lot of Stranger Things stuff, and with season 5 coming out, it's like it's really cool that all these people want to say hello to me. I just started making videos in summer of 2019, and like all these years later, I had no idea at the time that I'd be at a convention and people would
Hosting
be
a
coming.
panel.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Amazing.
it was a really, really cool moment for me in my journey. So
And
that was
Love
especially
that.
what a once in a lifetime. Like I kept saying it to Megan. I'm like, how lucky were we to do this where they got this much of the cast all underneath one roof while they're filming the final season. So very full circle, Chris. I love that.
And yeah, exactly. It might never happen again where there's this many Stranger Things actors in one place. I don't think it will. Maybe
No.
a reunion, or like obviously the big premiere press junket stuff.
Yeah.
They'll be there, but like at a convention, I doubt it. And
Where
so
like you get the chance to hang out with them and meet them. Yeah. Like I was telling Stacy, think about, you can watch season 5 and know that like some of the scenes that they filmed, you were like literally with them that same day.
Yep.
yeah, that's so crazy.
Insane.
So that was kind of like when that hit me, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
they like pushed a bunch of stuff back on Saturday because they were literally filming overnight, Friday night until like 8 a.m.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then we got to hang out with them later that day. So that's wild. So
It's nuts. And what's crazy to me too, the thought I had is I think about how all the cast was there, and in their brains, they possess the knowledge of how the show ends, and they're just in front of us. There's people in front of our eyes who know how Stranger Things ends, and they just like the power they hold, Like I was just thinking about that. I'm like, wow, they're getting asked questions at a panel about, oh, what's the saddest death or whatever, and they're in their heads are probably like, well, it could be this one that I can't say.
Yep. Exactly.
So I'm like, man.
I think Amy Beth, it was really cool. I ended up getting a photo op with her like last minute, and she was so sweet. She was hugging everybody when they came in for their photos and just having a great time. And I heard like a little bit of her panel, like I was like kind of in between lines, and I think it was her and Maya maybe, and people were asking her like what her favorite scenes were, and she's like, well, they're in season 5. So just like knowing that she's going to be a little bit of a bigger part in season 5 and just
Mhm.
wondering what that's going to be like, that was pretty cool. But yeah, so it was so great to meet you in person, and we always enjoy talking to you. We'll definitely have to have you back on as we lead up to all of this craziness that season 5 will be. We're super excited to continue talking about it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always great chatting with you.